important. And whether they say yes or no, you're going to send it anyway. What the yes or no is going to be too is asking them to meet up, to maybe stop over at their house, pop by and say, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while. Would love to come by the house, see what you've done with the place. Would that work for you guys? If that doesn't work, meet up for coffee, stop by their office. We've even had people have success with them coming to their office. Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. And today's episode is going to be awesome. We're going to talk about 2 things that you can do right now to double your business. These things are tried and true, and they are something that a lot of realtors don't do consistently, which just blows our minds. But before we get into that, Garrett, good morning to you, sir. As always, he's Garrett Fry. I'm Matt Benelli. How you doing?
Good morning, man. No, I'm excited. Always excited to be here with you. Doing well this morning. We've got beautiful summer still happening in Northern California. Started to cool down a little bit, just a little bit, make it a little bit more tolerable. Just a little bit, not too much. 109 is a little extreme. I'll take a 90 all day long.
That is hot. That is hot. Yeah, it's been hot here too. We're getting a little reprieve, which is nice. And gosh, man, it's been an amazing summer. We had our 21-day accelerator inside the community, which was really awesome. We have our group coaching that's just getting bigger and better every single week, which has been so much fun. It's been a fun summer for Life at 10 Tenths, I will say. So if you guys haven't checked us out there and all the things that we do, download our app or just go to lifeat10tenths.com and learn more about what we got going. We'd love to have you. Garrett, what was it that you said to me today that we're on a mission to do?
We are on a mission to collect and find the coolest people in the industry and bring them all into one spot. Because that's what I keep noticing. I keep making phone calls, especially to people that went through the 21-day accelerator. There's a handful of people that as I make those phone calls, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're one of our people. Like, how can we figure out how to make this work for you on a bigger level and help you get to your goals? Because there's amazing people in this industry. And our goal is to bring them all together so we can all share, grow, bring all the life journeys, events, what makes your life the biggest and best it can be. Because when you hear about somebody else living life at the highest potential they got, Matt, your brain goes, I want to go do a trip like that. I want to go live like that. It just raises the bar for everybody. And that's I go back with what you said. It's been an amazing summer. It's been an amazing summer of growth and watching people come together. So, but we do want to talk about doubling your business. I have watched this for as long as I've been coaching. I've been able to see this work and play out. I was first introduced to this idea of the fastest way to double your business by my dad when he was teaching and training. He used to stand in front of the room and be like, if any of you are interested in doubling your business right now, would you like to know a trick on how to do it? And it's one of those things that once you learn it and you understand it, it makes total sense. At the same point, we just step all over ourselves on this one and avoid the simple little things that literally can double your business. So Matt, we're going to jump into this today.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, what's crazy is these things are simple. And I know that many of you are listening like, ooh, you're like, what is it? What do I got to do?
I don't think we should tell them. Maybe we should just do a cliffhanger. Just be like, we'll tell you next time.
Great seeing you guys.
Episode.
It's been another great episode. If you want to go... It's not April Fool's yet. It's not April Fool's yet. Well, let's dive into this, Garrett, because these are 2 things that are part of so many systems. There's something that we talk about all the time, yet people don't do them regularly. And let's start with the customer service calls, because I even had a conversation yesterday with someone. I was like, are you doing your customer service calls? They're like, well, kinda. Like, I'm doing them here. And then the day before, I had a conversation with someone who put together our gear framework into an email template and everything. And like, it's so much better now that I have these regular, scheduled calls where I also provide this follow-up, which is amazing. So let's dive into this, because this is something that you should do regardless, because it's just a great way to handle your clients and shepherd them through a transaction.
So there's 2 pieces of this, Matt, because I know there's people listening right now going like, that's one of the magic tools.
Yes.
I make my customer service calls. Like I do my customer service calls. Yes, you might be doing them wrong. So that's one of the things here. So one is, are we doing them? And that's a huge piece. Second is, are we doing what's called good customer service? And we watch people do this all the time, where they'll call up their client and they'll just basically say, well, hey guys, Matt, hey, happy I caught you at a good moment. So here's what's going on right now. And we give them all the stats on what's happening, what we're currently doing. Do you guys have any questions? And they go, well, no, Matt, we don't have any questions. Or no, Garrett, we don't have any questions right now. And then we spin it around and we go, well, sweet. Okay, great. Well, happy you guys are good. I'll reach out to you in a week if I have any changes or anything going on. And we get done with it and we go, ooh, I got my customer service calls done. I've been wanting to get them going. I've been wanting to do them, and I'm making them happen. And it's great. It's good customer service. That customer service call will not unlock, really for the most part, any business. It is a great way for someone to say, I really like my realtor. My realtor shows up for me. They give me great information. But it doesn't necessarily give the piece of the customer service call that makes people go, Matt really cares about me. Matt really understands my world. Matt is not just our realtor. He's also a friend. He knows us on a different level. That element has to open up. So I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about also who qualifies to receive a customer service call, because sometimes I think our group is, we narrow it down to like the ones that we are typically right under contract with, the buyers and sellers that we're active with right now, that we have a contract with. And it can be a little bit bigger than that.
It can be. And I think too, there's also good customer service and exceptional customer service, which we'll get into with this, because
Good way to put it.
You want them to not only feel that emotional connection, but you also want them to be like, man, I just know based on the experience that I'm happening that there probably aren't really any other realtors out here like Garrett. And that is something that is worthy of sharing with a friend when they start to say, we're thinking about selling our house. Oh my gosh, if you guys are going to do that, not only can I connect you with the best human being on earth, but Garrett has this process that is just so good. Like, I never thought selling a house could be that easy, that stress-free. So let's dive into it.
Yeah. So I mean, let's start off right up front. What's that?
Let's start with who qualifies. Who qualifies for these things?
So obviously we got buyers we're currently working with right now. Now we got people that we're actively out showing property to. We have people that we're actively under contract with. We found them a house. They're heading to the closing table. We got those people. We've got our sellers that are currently sitting out here on the market right now. We've also got our sellers that are currently under contract, heading to closing. We've connected them with a buyer. But we also have people that are in the process of getting ready to be buyers and sellers. And this is where I think we miss out on a lot of great people. The ones that have said, we are thinking about buying or selling. We are thinking about, making this change. They've brought real estate up. They're talking about it. They would like to go down this route. And a lot of us kind of like, we don't want to act like salespeople. So we sit back a lot. We kind of go like, okay, I'm going to wait for them to come to me because I don't want to pressure them too much. Where this is that great opportunity to come in, ask some amazing forward questions about their life, where they're at, what's working. So family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And yeah, if we can have that moment come up, do you need any information right now? Like about, you said you're probably looking at buying a house or maybe making a home change. Is there anything I can be doing for you right now? That might be your customer service piece of your business that you bring in. And when they go, well, we're kind of in the mode right now, but we're kind of on hold a little bit, and be like, great. Just want you to know, I'll get you whatever you need when the time is ready. By the way, how's Victoria doing? How's school getting started off right now for her? You have to bring it back to that. So always have to start in the relationship side, and you always have to end on it. And this is, both sides of this are usually missed. The second one, though, I guess it would be the third piece of leaving on the relationship, has to happen. But those would be the people that would count, Matt, to like deviate off of what you were saying.
Yeah, no,
those are the people that fully count for those calls.
I like adding the structure in there, and these calls would happen every single week. Now, I think the only adjustment you could make there is with people who are onboarding, so to speak, who are like, hey, like, yeah, we're slowing down a little bit. Great. The key here too with customer service calls from a structural perspective, which you're always going to get a lot of the operational side from me, and you're going to get a lot of the really good relationship building stuff from Garrett. So combine these two things together here, which is setting the expectations. Like, awesome, great. I know that you're still interested in making a move, so I'm going to give you a call in 2 weeks, okay? And I'm going to, in the meantime, I'm going to be working on this, this, and this. And if there's something that does pop up, and this is a great question to ask too, if that dream home that you guys have been talking about does hit the market and I see it and I think it's good for you, would you like me to send it to you? They're going to say yes. And say,
nobody will ever be like, can you just hold on to that actually? And just let maybe it'll get better if you just like keep it in your back pocket. They'll never say, don't send that over to me.
Don't let us know about the deals. No, that's good. But I think it's important of setting the expectation that you're going to be making these calls, particularly after you get somebody through a consultation. You let them know that, hey, every week I'm going to reach out to you. And the reason why I do is because it's great for us to connect in a time where we're not talking about the right now things that we need to do, because a lot of you are thinking like, I do my customer service calls because I talk to my clients all the time. Yeah, you're talking to them about showing availability, the new listings that have coming on, the neighbor who put their house on the market, and should we do a price reduction? You need to have a moment when you can call them when all of that stuff isn't going on, so that we can revisit their goals, make sure that we're on the right path and all of that stuff, and have a space for these personal connections. Because if it's an urgent kind of business related conversation, Garrett, it's hard to get into that forward conversation, learning about their life, what's going on with their family, because usually they got other things to do. Whereas if we take a moment to just be like, hey, how was your weekend? When we're talking about a price reduction and we start with, hey, how's your weekend? They're like, yeah, it was fine. Let's talk about what my neighbor just did, right?
Yep.
You're going to miss out on that opportunity. So having that scheduled time for yourself to do this is very important. And Garrett, what happens if we don't get people on the phone? Because that can happen quite a bit too.
Well, it's interesting I used to be a big fan of voicemails, and I'm finding more and more and more now we don't listen to voicemails. You all know who you are who don't listen to your voicemails anymore. You look at what got turned into text, you look at the first couple sentences, and we go, I'm going to assume the rest of that went this way. I'm just going to call them. I do it. I know. So I think that we need to understand that with making these, I do recommend leaving a voicemail if you don't get them, and I do recommend following that same process, asking a forward question up front. Hey, hope you guys had a great weekend. It can be very simple. And then here's your update on what's going on currently right now. And by the way, and I'm using Victoria right now as an example. And by the way, want to just check and see. I hope Victoria had a great first week at school, and love to hear how that's going for her. And talk to you guys soon. And jump off. So same thing, leave it in the voicemail. They're more likely, if they're in transaction with you, if there's something that you guys are working on together, they're more likely to listen to that voicemail rather than if you just called to say, especially if they know it's your weekly checkup, Matt. Yeah. If they are aware of that, they're like, that's Matt's weekly checkup. I wonder what's going on. We missed him. Let's see if there's a reason I need to call him back. So I'd leave the voicemail. That's what I would do 100% of the time.
I would always leave the voicemail and then add on. People are like, well, I don't want to do the voicemail. I'll just send a text. It doesn't take you much time to leave the voicemail. Always leave it. Because if anything, if you're also going to send a text and send an email, now they have a couple of just notifications that you've reached out to them. And if they are a voicemail person, they'll listen to the voicemail. If they're a text person, they'll respond to the text.
What I have found that's worked really well lately, Matt, is I will leave a voicemail and then I will leave a text and saying, I just left you a voicemail with details about what I need to talk to you about.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll get a text going, I'll listen to the voicemail and then I'll give you a call back. And I'm like, sweet.
Which is fantastic. Now, the other thing I would encourage everybody to do too is also email. In fact, whenever you actually have clients that you've gone through the consultation, so you know their goals and everything, you have stuff to kind of report on, even if it's 0, that's a report. Having an email template ready to go that you've actually already drafted before you make the call. And if you then end up leaving a voicemail, you can just send the email, but put in the bottom of that email a question like, hey, how did Celeste do getting back to college and all that kind of stuff? And just put it on there. Just like, would love to know, and usually you'll get a reply from that and it'll not pay attention to anything else that was in the email. They'll just reply on that. They'll be like, oh gosh, like, well, let me tell you what happened. And you can have this great email back and forth.
I think a really important thing we need to bring into this, Matt, is you want to create an environment where they want to pick up your phone call.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times when it's just customer service, I don't need to talk to you, Matt. I don't need to pick up the phone and have a conversation with you. Just leave it in the voicemail. And I think a lot of realtors and service professionals, whether you're a lender or whatever it might be, like you can get into that. I'm just the realtor. I'm just the lender. I'm just giving you an update. I have no interest in talking to you. Just leave me the voicemail, give me the details, and I'm going to move along. And one of your goals is to say, can I create an environment where I raise their energy up? I bring them to a higher level. I get them to focus on the best parts of their life. And when they see my name on their phone, their voice goes internally, it's Matt. Like, sweet. Like, I love talking to Matt. And it's not about the business anymore. And the best referring agents, the one that built the strongest business was when it comes to referrals and relationship business, they're masters at this. And those people go, when I call, people pick up the phone. I said this years ago. I had a gentleman I was coaching and he said, Garrett, the phone is dead. Nobody likes the phone anymore. Nobody picks it up anymore. And I said, I disagree with you. I said, I think people love talking on the phone. They just don't like talking to you.
Yeah.
And it was a moment where he had to stop because at the end of the day, they were seeing his name on the phone and they were going, don't need to answer that. Don't want to answer it. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing right now. And I'm just going to say, if that is a scenario that you're dealing with, it can be fixed. It's fixed over time. And it's always about sandwiching this customer service type information or what you're trying to get done with them with a little bit about them before and a little bit about them after. And then the next part is whatever you learn, you got to gather it because it's going to help the next conversation. And then when you're done with this working relationship, when the deal is closed and done, you actually have stuff you can still talk about. You can still call and be like, how is your world? How are you doing? But if you don't give a crap about it through the transaction and you're just about business, when that relationship's done, it's done. It's over.
It is. And I will say the research shows that millennials and Gen Z folks actually prefer phone communication, particularly for client service related conversations, even more than Gen X and baby boomers. So for those of you who are like, oh, the younger kids don't want to talk on the phone. Oh, yeah, they do. The research actually shows it. They may not want to, call and talk about where they're going to meet up later because they're really fast with their thumbs for things like that. But they do want to talk to a real person when it comes to this stuff. And the reason why this is a core element, people say, okay, great. How does this double my business? I only have so many clients at a time when I can be making, all of these other phone calls. And we're not saying don't do those things, but the reason why this works is because all the people that are currently working with you, that are thinking about working with you, their reticular activating system is tuned into real estate. They are having more real estate conversations away from realtors than anyone else out there. And so their opportunity to introduce you and refer you to someone is way higher than just someone you're talking to at the supermarket. Doesn't mean that that's not a good conversation to have. It just means that these conversations are going to be way better at driving opportunities towards you. And they get to experience your service and your process and your operations. So they actually have something tangible to refer as well. Not just Garrett's a great guy. I run into him all the time and he's always super nice. It's Garrett's super nice. And he has this great system and process that I'm experiencing that I love. And I really want to make sure you guys have that experience if you're thinking about it as well. And that's why this is such a crucial tool in helping you double your business.
Well, and I want to add into this because the way, Matt, as you just brought up the reticular activating system, the way that it works is you see people that are in the exact same situation that you're in right now. So if you go back to when maybe anybody listening here either had a baby on the way, you're definitely in the stage of pregnancy. All of us, myself included, thought something was in the water because everybody was pregnant at that given time. Like everywhere you looked was another pregnant lady. Oh my gosh, another one. Like they're everywhere. it's just the way that it works because your brain is looking for it. And then there's the next step, which is all of a sudden you have a newborn baby, and guess what? Everybody has a newborn baby. Everywhere I turn, there's a newborn
explosion. I call it.
It's all of a sudden it's everywhere. And so I want you to think about it in the real estate transaction. You have people that are lightly up front thinking about buying or selling. They're seeing and talking to lots of people that are lightly thinking about maybe engaging the game of real estate and maybe going to go down that route. You have people that are currently looking right now. Well, they're at parties and things going, you're actually looking for who's your realtor? What are you doing right now? Where are you looking? Where are you thinking about buying a house? We have those actives. Under contracts, they typically see a lot of people that are also under contract. And then we have the people that closed. They see a lot of people who just bought homes or just sold homes. So usually where we're focusing so much on where's the potential referral, we're usually focusing at the closing table going, I really like working with yourselves and people like you. And, if you know anybody who's also thinking about buying or selling, I'd love to be able to help them out also. You can have that conversation. You can pour the love in down that space in the real estate transaction, but their mind is not seeing people that need to buy or sell anymore. So when you pour this energy up front early on and you really give them this attention, you're opening up these people that are seeing the ones that you actually could be helping right now. And we miss it. We usually skip over that entire part, and we hope at the very end that we're going to have a great conversation. They're going to refer us to their friends. And they do. It happens. It's not where all the activity typically is hanging out.
No, and the stats too do show from the NAR that the average, buyer and seller does refer their agent at least one time. There's a great chunk of people who refer their agent 3 or 4 more times. And if you want to accelerate to that level, these customer service calls done regularly are going to be a crucial component into doing that. But that's not the only tool that we can use.
Before we leave, I want to just throw on this, just so we know the stats. There are 4 real solid opportunities to refer during that time of working with you. And so if you just wanted to take customer service calls and say, what if I got one of those 4 opportunities and it turned into business? If every single person you're working with, you had that happen, that system right there will double your business. If you had 20 transactions you were going to do this year, and now all of a sudden we've had each one of them refer you one piece of business that actually turned into a deal. Let's say they referred you 4, 1 turned into it. Playing the odds here. You have effectively doubled your business just with that system right there. But as we're getting ready for this, Matt, you're like, but there's another critical system that if they can lean into both of these,
yeah. Well, because, all right, maybe you don't have a ton of active clients right now and you're like, okay, yeah, I'd love to double my business from 1 to 2, but is there something else that I can do to really, grow this with other people I'm not actively working with? And yes, that is. There's the market impact reports, or what a lot of people call real estate reviews. And doing these at a really high level, doing them regularly, and doing them with more than just people you've sold real estate with. That is a key element. Coming back into the order that we did it with the customer service calls, who qualifies for this? Everyone. Anyone in your world who owns a piece of real estate qualifies for a market impact report. And in fact, you can do them for renters as well. You just have to adjust the way that it looks, because a market impact report will impact the market changes will impact their rental rates over time. And it might impact how their renewal is going to look and all of that kind of stuff. So market impact reports are fantastic. And there is a good and okay way to do them, and then there's a great way to do them that actually does produce referrals. So, Garrett, maybe we should start with just kind of what is it at a very good baseline, because these don't have to be complicated, right?
I'm going to first start off almost with semantics about it, where as we built Life at 10 Tenths and we started going down this route, we started looking at, let's look at all the systems that we know out here, Matt, and what we see that works, and where do people get caught up with them. And the idea of what we have called the market impact report, which again, a lot of people refer to as a real estate review. The semantic side of this that I want to just step into real quick is that a lot of times we're finding that when people refer to them as a market impact report that they want to do with their clients, they have an easier time doing it There's something about bringing up it's time for your real estate review. The word real estate, being a real estate agent, doing a real estate review, all of a sudden we're coming to them with our business, wanting to talk about our business with them. It would be the difference of doing like a family checkup as an insurance agent, or, however you want to call it, to saying it's time for your insurance review right now. Well, great. You're an insurance agent. You're coming to me to do your insurance review. I'm cool. We're good, man. We're all covered up. We're all set up. But if it's the health of my family and making sure that my family is set up properly, like, it has a different energy to it. And so it's a simple thing, but Matt, I've found just changing it to a market impact report, all of a sudden it kind of eases that entry of being able to have that conversation. So I've had a lot of people get a hold of me going, just by calling it that, all of a sudden, like, I'm getting more yeses than a real estate review. So just a little change. And that's why you'll hear us talk about a lot, market impact report, and we'll always throw in, it's a real estate review, guys. Just so you're not like, what is this? Is it something new? Is it something? No, it's not anything really different. It's just a little teeny change.
Well, you think about it, what it is a simple market analysis that shows how changes in supply and demand, changes in the activity in your neighborhood may have impacted the value of your home. Yep. Or could impact the value of your rent, if that's something that you're going to do. But mostly we're a lot easier to do this with homeowners, better data, all that kind of stuff. But like, that's it. How is all the stuff that's going on? Let's talk about how the Fed rates might impact the value of your home or might impact mortgage rates. Just talk about how this might impact this, which I think also takes the pressure off of a lot of real estate agents stop short of doing these because they're like, but I don't want to have to go do a full-blown CMA and tell these people what their home is worth right now. And I said, you don't have to, because it's, first of all, the value of a home is very arbitrary when spoken about in a vacuum. Yes, appraisers have a system on doing it because they need to in order to qualify for refinances and loans and all of these other things. However, the only true way to understand or determine the value of a home is to put it on the open market and have a buyer come and present an offer. That's the only way you're going to find out the actual pinpointed value of a property. However, a market impact report, we can talk about it. We can talk about the range, but you want to pull market data, FHFA.gov. Garrett and I love that website. The Federal Housing Finance Agency pulls tons of data. It does lag behind, because it takes them a while to compile that stuff. So you're usually showing prior quarters data whenever you're sharing stuff. But that's a great place to start. Here's the national trends. Here's the state trends. Here's the metropolitan statistical area trends. And then pull your MLS. Here's the recent solds in the neighborhood. Let's look at that stuff, put it in a document, and talk about it with our people.
Matt, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but we're going to just for 2 seconds. When we talk about the actual who puts value on a property, like who makes something be worth something, and why us as realtors are bad at actual what real market value is. There's a lot of reasons to that. Current homeowners are bad at what they think their current home is worth. And like, I think it's worth this amount, and they get all hooked onto that price. Appraisers also, they're just using the best tools, but none of those three people are actual buyers. They're not willing to buy it. They're not willing to put their cash up to be able to buy it, which I think is a really interesting thing. I was just watching a gentleman did a documentary, very short, on a classic car. And it was a 1969 Dodge Daytona is what it is, which was also referred to as a Super B. Anybody who knows classic cars, they're rarer than rare can possibly be. Like, to find one is a barn find, and get your hands on one is a unicorn if you find one. And this gentleman found one, and they estimated it out, appraised it out at $180,000 is what this car would sell for. It was covered in pigeon crap, like sitting in a barn, like completely, it was a mess. Interesting thing though is when it went to open auction, when it went to sale, when it went out to the general public, I think what they said is it sold for $90,000. That's a long ways away from $180,000.
Yeah.
And so I think that like we always need to understand that and help our people understand that what we're using is we're using all the tools around us to gather what recent sales have happened, what's taken place. But at the end of the day, it matters who the buyers are in the marketplace at that given time. That's actually going to determine real market value. And real market value can change overnight depending on what happens with certain levers and things in our world that all of a sudden people go, I'm not willing to pay that anymore. I'm just not. And all of a sudden that home is worth, we saw Redding, California drop 60% of its value in 1 year. Like that was back in 2008. Like if you told me a year before what my house was worth and a year later, I'm going like, dude, you were so wrong. Well, things change. Marketplaces change. Buyers aren't willing to buy anymore at that price. So I think going into these market impact reports, there's a lot of information you can give without getting yourself into that trap of this is what your home is worth right now. And I want to just caution everybody with the market impact report, don't go there. Yeah. Danger, danger, danger. Don't do it. But there is great information you can share. And Matt, I'm going to tell you, everybody who I've ever had do these or have been successful with them, simple. Keep them simple. The minute you start to go, oh, but I'm going to put this in because they're going to love that. I'm going to add this in over here and look at these charts and graphs and all these things. And look at this. Oh my gosh. The printouts that are like just data all the way down that even us, people that look at the information all day long go, what am I looking at? Take somebody who's never looked at it before and give it to them. If you want to play with this, if you have kids in teenage years, put it in front of them and go, what do you get out of this? If they look at it and go, this is painful, do not put it in your report. Leave it out. Yeah. And I see people make that mistake all the time, Matt, and they go, I don't understand why I don't get better responses on these. I'm like, because they're painful.
Yeah. Oh, and at the same time, you do need to provide some data because I've seen some where I'm just like, there's nothing here. Like there's literally zero. You have a number that has no data that's backing up why that number is this way. So do make sure that it has a context to whatever it is, but in a simple format. This is why I just like supply and demand trends and recent solds that are comparable to that home, right? Yep. It's a personalized report on the market for them. And like, that's it. Now, the report actually isn't even the important part here. What is important is that you do these in a multitude of ways. And so there's layers to this. And as you add layers, you see a lot more success. And at the very base, what I see people do, if they even do engage in these reports, is they'll maybe send them out, basic, like, oh, I email it out. Or yeah, I got, just kind of this thing. It goes out, it's an email. It just says the stuff and it happens there. And they're like, but I'm not getting any referrals. I'm like, yeah, because all you're doing is delivering information. They're going, oh, cool. Garrett sent me
Might as well send a postcard. Postcard probably has a better touch than that.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I got something. That's great. Cool. But there's no conversation. There's no follow-up. There's no, how are you doing? How's the house? What have you made changes to? And all that kind of stuff. It's just another piece of marketing that's going out to them. Same thing, even if you mail it out. And so I would encourage everybody, that's a great place to start. But if you really want to level it up, at least start by calling them first, Garrett. This is even a thing where I see people like, well, I call on the back end. Like, no, call them first and tell them that you've created this report for them, that you're going to share with them, and that you're excited for them to see the data. And by the way, how are you? How's the family?
You said the magic words of, I created this for you. I want to just caution everybody. If the words come out of your mouth of, I would like to create this for you, I was hoping to make this for you and send it your way. If you called me and said that, I would say, we're cool. We're not looking at selling right now. We're actually happy. We're staying. Do that for somebody else. But if you tell me you've already created it, all of a sudden I now have an obligation to be like, they've already done work for something for me. And my feeling is like, oh, cool. Like, I'd love to see it. Yeah. Like, and at that point in time, even if you just send it over, whether I don't meet with you face to face, at least I'm going to say yes, instead of saying, don't worry about it. So Matt, I love that you threw that in there of I've already created it. It is missed by so many people.
So important. And whether they say yes or no, you're going to send it anyway. What the yes or no is going to be too is asking them to meet up. to maybe stop over at their house, pop by and say, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while. Would love to come by the house, see what you've done with the place. Would that work for you guys? If that doesn't work, meet up for coffee, stop by their office. We've even had people have success with them coming to their office. And that works too. I mean, if you're meeting in person, the key there is you get to have a time in front of somebody, share some physical space, and just have conversation, because only a little bit of time is actually going to be spent talking about this report when you guys meet in person. Gary, we got to dive into the relationship.
I will say, based on where you live and what it takes to have somebody come to your office, can be very different. I look at, like, we had Ian Schwartz that we interviewed. He's in downtown Chicago. Like, his massive amount of people where he's like, hey, we're going to do a market impact report, and I want you to come into the office. Like, that might be a hell of an ask to get people to come into the office. I know when I lived up in Seattle, if my agent up there was like, come into the office, like, that might be a 45-minute drive just to have me come in to go sit down with Bonnie and be like, so what do we got going on here? So that's something that we need to pay attention to, because I look at, like, the people that I've had, my professionals in my world, that I've actually gone into their office and sat down with them on an annual basis. It's been when I actually lived, like, in Grants Pass. Grants Pass is 30,000 people. For me to drive from my house to the middle of downtown, maybe it's a 5-minute drive. And sure, I'll stop by the insurance office while I'm downtown and run my other errands and stuff, and I can walk in there and do my insurance review. So I think if you can have them come into your office, it's super powerful. It makes it very professional, but also understand your geography of your area and what are you truly asking people to do? Because if they come in one time and they're like, so we just sat down for this simple document for us to kind of go back and forth and, talk a little bit about our family and stuff like that. And it took me 45 minutes to get here. I got a 45-minute drive home. I may never come for a market impact report ever again.
And that is why I really like going to their house, because you're also on their turf, right? They get to control the environment. You're just showing up and sharing some value and having a good conversation. And from the people that we've interviewed on the podcast, people I've spoken to over the past, several weeks and months, they're like, it's great. I love going to my clients' houses. Like, I let them know. Obviously, we let them know that I'm coming, so if they need to clean up or anything like that, they can do that. But it's like, but I got to go, hang out in the backyard, throw the ball for their dog, see their kids, and really show up and bring the energy into their life and just share moments with them, which is so powerful. Or see what they've done with the place. Be like, oh, I remember when we saw this house, that wall was brown, and like you guys, like, I could never see what the potential, and now I see what you guys have done. It's amazing. Love the artwork, the furniture, all those things. You get the opportunity to see that. And I had somebody say this too, where they use it as actually it was John said this yesterday. He said he uses the opportunity to see how can he recommend people, because he'll notice, maybe a fence needs to be fixed or there's some deferred maintenance, and he'll use the opportunity to help refer vendors in to help them get those things settled up while it's easy, instead of waiting until they want to sell the house years down the road and all of a sudden they have to run and do all these little things. So I love visiting the house for these things.
Well, and I think that going to the house also, like, I know there's a lot of agents that I've coached. They're like, well, I don't want to do that because now I'm like, they have to clean the house. I'm putting work on them, whatever, whatnot. I coached a gentleman years ago in Boston, and he was telling me about, like, Boston is a place where everybody hangs on their front porches. Like, that's what front porches are about. Company comes over, everybody hangs out on the front porch. They hang out on the front stoop. Like, they get a chance to catch up and connect. And I think in most areas, like, I think even in where I live, like, I think it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to drop by the house. The plan is not to come inside. I'd love to hang out just on your front porch with you for a second. I have some information that I prepared that I'd love to share with you. It's called, Market Impact Report. I'd love to catch up really quick. That is a much easier ask. That's something, if you said to me, I'm gonna drop by the house later on, when would be a good time to drop by? If you said to me, we'll just hang on the front porch, I don't want to come inside, I don't want to disrupt your world, your life, I'd be like, yeah, dude, drop on by. If you thought you were going to come into my house, like, I got 2 labs, I've got I got cats, I've got kids, I've got all, like I say kids, they're grown now, but they create more of a mess now at 20 something that they do any other time in their life. They're home for summer right now. So it's like, that's a huge disturbance in my world. Take advantage of the front porch, though. The front porch is an amazing spot. And I don't think Boston's just unique to that. I think that there's lots of us that can just meet on the front porch. It's important also, Matt, because you get to see their facial expressions. You get to see their body language. You get to have some deeper questions and either flip through some pages and see how they respond to it. And if they want to talk more about it, or if we just want to talk about what they got going on in their world right now. That space, when we talk about the engagement engine, it's a massive opportunity to have that moment in that space. Shake a hand, put a hand on the shoulder, get a hug. It just raises that energy to a different level. You'll never do it through the mail. It'll never happen through email, and it will never happen through just a phone call. So I think that take those opportunities where you can take them. And I'm going to throw in real quick, Matt, because I'm kind of on a roll here. The last piece is if you can do a market impact report with people on your warm list, people that are having life changes, the response on it, the actual return on it is crazy. It's wild. I have seen it so high where people are like, this is the only spot I'm doing these right now because the return on them is so high. These guys are actively in their mindset. They may not have said it out loud yet, but they are thinking about maybe buying or selling. True warm list, by the way, just so everybody remembers, is people just having life changes. That's it. They haven't said they're thinking about buying. They haven't said they're thinking about selling. But if we can identify them and be like, oh, I put something together for you. I was doing some research in your marketplace and I thought you might enjoy this. There is a crazy high return on those.
Yeah, that RAS, right? The reticular activating system is primed for real estate. Those people also are talking to other people who are experiencing life change. So the referral opportunity is really large with that. I'll add this list, one other component to this of what it does is it demonstrates again your professionalism, your processes, and how you set yourself apart from other realtors. Because when a neighbor will be like, oh, who is that? It's like, oh, that was my realtor just, coming to do our market impact report. He does it every year or he does it every 6 months. And they'll be like, oh, really? I've never heard from my realtor after buying this house, right? That is the type of conversation that can happen following this just because you're showing up in a professional way with value for your people. And so this thing is such a big unlock, Garrett, that I've seen people who do this and it makes their business so busy that they stop doing it because they're like, oh, I got too busy. I didn't have time to go meet people. And this is where developing a system for yourself becomes very important and making this a priority for your in-person meetups. Like if you're running out of time, okay, maybe we're going to drop some of the coffees. We're going to drop some of the other networking. We're going to focus on doing these things here because you can also, these things go together. We mentioned the customer service calls. At that point, you use that to set up how you run a process. And as you go through a transaction, you let people know that these reports are something you do. Your service doesn't end at closing. And now the expectation is there. So one feeds the other, and it gives you this opportunity to have this extended time frame where people remember you, they know you for your professionalism, they are reminded of the experience of working with you, which is what they are able to refer. Because at the end of the day, Garrett, when we talk about what makes a great referral is not just being a good person. We need to have that relationship, that personal connection so that people know that there is a genuine good person there because people like to refer people who are good people. But what they're going to actually refer is not you as a person. They're going to refer your process. They're going to refer your professionalism. And because a referral is made not by saying, Garrett, you're a good guy. I want to introduce you to Matt, who's also a good guy. You guys have fun. It's going to be, no, Garrett, you're an amazing real estate agent. I want to introduce you to my friend, Matt, who's thinking of selling his house. I know you can provide him with value. Matt, you're going to love what he's got coming up for you. So why don't you guys have a conversation? That is a referral. And that's what we're trying to procure with these two systems that are so easy to do, Garrett.
Well, and here's the thing, as we talked about before, so easy to do, also so easy not to do. And people push them off all the time and go, yep, someday I'm going to develop that system. Well, this is the difference of when we talk about people having a business that provides them working smarter, not harder. allowing you to go out and really, truly build a life, go out and spend time with your loved ones. When you're running a really high referral relationship business, you get freedom. You get the ability of going on vacation and having people say, we're going to wait till you get back. You're our realtor. We're not doing with this anybody else. You're our person. You get this incredible freedom that you build into this business that you've been working on for, I mean, how many years? You all know yourself out there. And you can either have the same year over and over and over again, chasing strangers and hammering on strangers, trying to get someone to come in and use your services and buy or sell with you. And then next week, we're going to do it all over again. We're going to hammer on strangers, see if we can find new leads, see if we can find new business. Or you can build this amazing farm. You can build this amazing, and not farm in the way that I know a lot of people do farm. I'm looking at like a grove of crops of people that were planted and they don't go anywhere. We're going to nurture them every season. They're going to pop back up. They're going to bring new fruit and new harvest that we have. And think about it, Matt. How many people do you need to have? Like really need to have when you've got these great customer service calls that lead into this great long-term relationship that lead into you doing your market impact reports. I mean, what if you had 100 people that was the flow they were always in with you? Like you don't need that many to create an incredible business, an incredible life. And that's what I want everybody focusing on with what we've shared with you today. Yeah. It's the fastest way to double your business. It's also give you the most freedom I've ever seen in this business called real estate. So that was a good one, Matt.
Yeah, no. So I hope you guys take action on that. If you need more, nuanced information about it, I mean, first I would just say pause right there and just get started with doing this. Like don't overcomplicate it. But you can also reach out to us too. You can also, come find us, share your questions, send us an email. We'd love to help you out.
So a couple places, if you all want to jump on this journey with us, you can come check us out at lifeat10tenths.com. You can get all the information that what we've got going on there. You can find us online on social media. You can find Matt, you can find myself. You're welcome to DM us, ask questions, throw things our direction. We love talking to people. Matt and I are coaches at heart. And so we always are like, I mean, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, we dive into people's worlds. I'm like, I don't know if they asked for this. But we also have the 11 Circle. We actually have a couple levels you can go to. We have the Inside Track, where if you want to come in, grab our app and sign up for that, you'll get stuff almost every single day. I think we do have every single day something going out of value. And then if you want to come in on a bigger level, it's funny, Matt, I had somebody ask me the other day, like, what do I have to commit to be in the 11 Circle? And really the commitment is that we have a call, the main meat of it is a call once a week. It's on Wednesdays where we bring an amazing group of people together that want to have a better life. They want to have a better business, or they want to share how systems are working. And we have a lot of incredible agents in there that are killing it. And they come together and we share what's working, what's not working. Everybody's business gets better. And we do that every Wednesday. And again, that's the meat of what the 11 Circle is. So if you're looking for something like that in your business, something like that in your life, come join us in the 11 Circle. Grab your 7-day free trial. We'd love to have you in there. You can see what it's all about. And with that being said, Matt, thank you, sir, as always.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is great. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.